I'm sure it'll come up in a second. An error occurred on Facebook.
We are,
Zero temporary, but we are live
yeah.
regardless. So it says, wait a minute and try again. So I'm just going to click to go again on Facebook. But ladies and gentlemen, hashtag no meatballs for you. This is the show that we're going to talk about. Hashtag no meatballs for you. This is the show about, we're going to be talking about how having children, raising children changes your entire life. Hi, Agnes. It's Agnes from Tax Resolutions and Bookkeeping LLC. Agnes Amasano. How are you doing today? This
Great. How you doing, Ryan?
I am all right. Oh, you did that. How you doing, Ryan? You almost sounded like you were from California just now. I
There,
mean,
there you go.
but yes, I'm well. It's a very interesting middle of the month. Today's also St. Patty's. By the way, you do not say St. Patrick's Day. You say St. Patty's, right? That's how you're supposed to say it because it's DDY. That's how you're supposed to say it right over here. But other than that, it's been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about this because, as a father myself, and you as a mother, I'm sure there'll be great stories that we can trade about how becoming parents has changed our lives. So, right after this, let's get into that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's here. This is Love, Death, and Taxes with me, your host, Ryan Williams, and the other host, or the co-host of the hostess with the mostest, is Agnes Amasano from Tax Resolutions and Accounting, Bookkeeping LLC. So we're going to talk about how having children or bringing them into this world and or raising them changes your entire life, right? And there's stages, right, Agnes? If you
Oh
think
gosh,
about
yes,
it, yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah. Like I
yes, yes.
remember all the books I bought when I found out that my wife was pregnant for the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to understand everything.
You
How
too.
is it? Yeah. Oh heck no, I still don't understand. Everything changes. Everything changes every couple of minutes, and it's fascinating. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. First, you ladies walk around with those children inside of you. Oh well, technically, I know how to do it, but you know what I mean.
Well, you're a father of two kids,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
assuming you know
yeah.
when a man and
I
woman
figured it
love
out.
each
Yeah.
other.
Oh no.
We
You
don't,
have to
you don't
explain
want
it
to
to
have
me.
that talk? No? Okay.
It's kind of late. I've actually had it with them a few times. God, it's not their mom who does it. I end up doing it, and it's fascinating. First of all, they have so much information already because either from school or for the internet, they figure it out. They figured it out, but it's like a fascinating thing. So, how do you think having children or raising children change your life?
Well, first of all, there's a big difference between raising children the way our generation was raised,
Mm,
the way what your children are much younger than my son is, but the way I was raising my son and now he's father himself,
mm,
and I can see it's different way they're raising their children. So everything is evolving.
yeah.
But me personally, I want to be a mother like this. I guess biological clock was ticking, although I was in my very early 20s, but I needed to be a mother. And when I got pregnant, I was scared. I was scared. I started questioning myself because then it kind of the responsibilities, I was aware of that I am responsible for another human being, and
Yes.
the weight of responsibilities was quite great until his first move. from his first move that I thought that was overwhelming, powerful love and dedication of every minute of my life.
Wow.
I was from that moment was all about my child and nobody and nothing else.
So basically, basically, you had a banner moment where it was like, okay, now I understand this, and so it wasn't about being nervous anymore. It was about being protective instead, right?
Instead questioning, am I going to be able to handle this? Because it's a lot of responsibilities to be a
It is.
parent,
It's
you
an
know?
amazing amount of responsibility if
Yes.
you think about it. Like there's is a whole other person that you're bringing into the world. It's weird. I I I, I had goals set, specific things that I want for my children. So I guess in a way, I wasn't taking it more like, hey, oh, it's such a responsibility. It was more like I have a plan for them to,
Mm.
take over the world or
Oh, that's what's going to happen. Okay.
I'm going to teach them 20 different languages so they yeah, they must ride horses and do fencing.
And then they grow up and they will find out, oh, they have their own plans.
Yeah, that's the thing. They decide they want to do something
Yeah.
completely different that you have absolutely no control over, and you kind of have to just let it go. But did you have something specific that you wanted to bring up or talk about? Because there are many different things that you could say about
Yes. You
changes,
know,
but
I was blessed that I have older sisters that I
Mhm.
was able to ask them when I had questions, like what would you do? And I had girlfriends that they had sons because raising a girl and raising a boy, it's a little bit different approach,
It can be.
personal opinion. So I was very lucky. I consider myself very lucky that they had sons before me, and I was kind of learning on their experiences. And then a very important thing that I see people that I know right now, from acquaintances of friends that they are about to make the same mistakes, which is attaching themselves to kids too much.
It
You know,
becomes
there is that little when people get married in church, there is a passage read from the Bible that from that moment they will leave the dwelling of your mother and father, and you're going to go and you're going to start your own family and all
you are
that.
going to cleave unto your wife. That's what the Bible
That's
says.
what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
cleave. I'm like, oh, yeah. That's
Okay.
like taking it to
Yeah.
and now you stay there. Okay, whoever else you were dealing with, sorry. This
That's
is
it.
now
Yeah.
where we are.
So
Oh yeah,
the whole thing is we are not raising children for ourselves to keep. We are raising children for the world. So holding on to them too tight, we're gonna get hurt.
eventually, yes, yeah. You can't
Um,
hold.
yeah, I had a girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
who dedicated, and she did
Drama
an
bomb.
amazing job. She dedicated her whole life
Mm-hmm.
to her son. She had quite a very good job,
Mm-hmm.
um, and she was missing a lot of things, and it caused her a lot of problems. She lost that good job just because she needed to drive her son here and there, and I mean, for everything, she was there for him.
Yeah. This
And then he turned 18 and he got a girlfriend. And
and
sadly, mommy was not important. I
no.
mean, kind of normal, That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, this is the way it goes.
Yeah,
For those of you who watch The Mandalorian, this is the way. Sorry. That's exactly what happens. Once you get a girlfriend, who's mommy? Thanks, mom.
yeah. Close the door, please. But she was hurting. This woman was hurting so badly. My heart broke when I saw it because she was calling me crying, like, how could he do this to her?
Yeah.
To me, that was like, well, think of that. But that point, my son was 13, so I'm like, that's kind of normal, But she was really, really hurting, and I cut the maternal cord from my son quite early. Make sure that he's independent. I make sure that he knows that his role in this world will be a husband, a father, a provider. That he needs to have a career, and no, when he got married,
Hmm.
and I was sick, and his wife wasn't feeling well. He was actually considering coming to help me, and I told him, I said, "Don't you dare, because your wife comes first from now on." That's the reality. That's the team.
Yeah.
That's the team that they're making. The husband and wife, it's a team. So holding on to your children is, don't hold on to them in your hearts, but not physically, and so that's one of the things that
You
you
definitely feel like it changes you, right? That changes you. The
yes,
fact that you want to hold on. It's almost as if this is how I feel because I'm trying to protect them from everything, right? As a dad, you want to protect them from everything, every kind of heartache, whether heartache or being bullied or being physically hurt. You just want to make them these eggs. And I can see how if you only have one kid too, and that's the only focus that you've had for whatever reason, that if, when that kid decides to truly sprout and go and live their own life, that it can be difficult to make that adjustment. But you have to be, I mean, you should be putting it into mind that that is the adjustment that you're going to make, right? One would think that's the thing that should be coming up. Like people should be saying, okay, I'm now going to understand that as the kid grows up, that they're going to move through different stages. And yeah, they cling to you when they're little, but as they get old, by the time they hit 13, 14, they're like, who you, daddy? I don't know who the heck you are. And they go off and do their own thing.
yeah,
The other thing that I see happen too is sometimes even past that, that's about when it begins, right? When they're 18, like they can start to get into serious relationships. But say they put a ring on somebody's finger, it gets really, really hard for some parents because they're like, is this person good enough for my kid? You know what I mean?
well,
Who is this person?
yeah. At the very beginning,
Hmm.
when my son was at the age when he started dating, and then he went to somebody's house, and then, oh, her family's nice, and her mom is this, and so I was like, what do you mean, you like her mother? How dare you? I'm your mother, you're supposed to love me.
So you were seriously like annoyed that he liked the other person's mother?
It hit me that I'm in a competition
Yeah.
with somebody else. But then I was like, wait a minute. I
Yeah.
supposed to I supposed to be happy
You
that
want him, yeah. You don't want him to be fighting with his mother-in-law the entire time. That's not
no,
what
no, no,
you
that wasn't mother-in-law yet. That wasn't
want.
that when he
Not
started
yet.
dating, when he
But,
just
but
started dating.
I hear what you
Yeah.
said. Well, eventually, that's what you see your future mother-in-law. Then, if it is
Yes,
possible,
yes.
you want him to like that person, and that person to like him too. I got to tell you, whenever I liked one of um, my stepdaughter's boyfriends, that was immediately meant he was going right out the window. It was over for him. Her mother could like him. In fact, she'd be a little annoyed that her mother would like the guy. But if I like the guy, forget it. He was gone. He was gone in a matter of weeks because it's like, no, you're too much like my dad. Get
That
out of
was exactly the same thing when he brought some girlfriend. He She brought cookies. I was like, oh, 2 days later she was gone.
here. That's a mistake.
So
No, no getting along.
I
No
don't
getting.
know. I don't know. I was very careful when he brought his wife. I was very careful because I like her. She brought very nice cake for me. I was very careful to not to get too excited because I'm thinking she's a nice girl. They make a nice couple, and thank God they stuck together. They make very nice couple. They married, they have children. But uh, I was very careful not to get too excited, so she was.
But you could stay, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. You don't want the problems. You want them to be able to stay. So I get it. I get that. And yeah, as these, I've got two sets, right? Technically, two age groups. I got, when my other two children were born, my wife's child from the first marriage was already in like 13, 14. And we moved to Long Island because I wanted more opportunity for them here as opposed to in the places where I was living previously in parts of New York City. And I mean, it feels like such a different way to raise them too. They're very different groups of, like you say, your son is what, in his 30s,
Yes.
right? That's a different group of kids to raise than this. Like I've got a 12 and a soon to be 13, and it's Agnes. It's like day and night. They're so different, and they're good kids. They're really good kids. They don't give me a lot of trouble or anything, but this whole world is weird, okay? And then on top of that, they have to absorb that. And I'm learning with them. I'm literally growing up with them. That's the other thing, too.
That's what it is. Yes.
I hope I hope they're not listening. But I literally don't have the answers for everything. But act like I do.
Guess
I
what?
hope.
They come to the age where actually they will find out.
Yes.
They will
Well,
find out.
if they watch this.
No,
Today
but
is the age.
yeah. But
They'll
you
be
know what?
today years old. Yeah.
This is what happens. Like when they're little, this is what we do. We make sure the first thing we think about, oh my God, they have to go to good schools. We
Yeah.
have to make sure that when we're expecting children, we are in the right neighborhood, that we provide them a right household, and everything else, and the needs. Then we telling them, well, you have, and they learn to believe mommy and daddy in everything that we say.
Hopefully. Yeah,
Then
hopefully.
they go to school.
Yeah.
They are met with different cultures, different religions, and they start questioning what they being taught at home. My religion was never challenged because I was raised in different country where
Almost everybody
everyone
was
in
the same.
yeah,
Mm.
it was all the
Or
same
if you're
thing.
in a small village too, like if you're in a smaller area or smaller village, then that's what it is. And also, the United States kind of has this thing where everybody can do their own thing if they want to. But yeah, in Jamaica, everybody was one particular religion. It might be a slightly different denomination, but they're all technically
Yeah,
Christian. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you didn't
So
have a
that
lot.
was Yeah, so that was everyone goes to church at this time, everyone goes to religion lesson at this time. So there was a group effort, and no one challenged anybody. And
Yeah.
at home on the holidays, you do this, and that's it. We all
Right.
do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where here it's like, oh, this is the holiday, and then we have so many different holidays and
With different
kids.
religions, right?
Yes,
And different things that they're seeing and getting you're talking about religion right now. You can talk about the other stuff that's going on with gender or the stuff that's going on with what they should or could not learn about sex or what there's a whole I mean if you absorbed everything and took everything really seriously and freak out, and I do see you Karen's freaking out, okay, I see you. um it is quite possible that you make a bunch of mistakes and like show your kids and they're like, oh boy, I'm really ashamed of you because you don't understand, the world is changing, and that's part of the tough part,
it
but
is.
also you gotta
It
you
is challenging because you're raising your child, you're trying to give him and teach him or her the values that
yeah
uh, you came from, that
yes
they're important to you, and then you're being questioned at earlier than you thought.
Yeah,
But
they
mom,
always do though, right? They always question you. The question
yes.
is whether or not. I was talking about this last night at a meeting. Integrity is still integrity. There's a certain thing. You either steal stuff or you don't. You either lie or you tell the truth. Like there are things called white lies, gray lies, in between, whatever, but that's only because it's CIA terminology. Bottom line is it's still a lie, right? It's still a lie over here. And this is the truth over here. And so it's an interesting thing where you say, yes, I want to teach them all this stuff that I learned but the world is changing so quickly that everybody's blurring the lines. That's the scary thing. And so what do you do as an adult, as a parent, to make it so that they still do what they're supposed to do in life, but can adapt to whatever else is going on? Because if you're too rigid, this is something I learned way late in life, Agnes. If you're too rigid, then nobody wants to hang out with you, okay? Because you want to stick to all the rules, okay? Sometimes you have to let some people do what they want to do and then figure out that that's wrong and then come to you instead of like forcing them. No, you gotta do it this way or else. Nobody wants that. Sometimes people don't want a boss dad, they want just a friend, and that's not always the thing that I think I wanted to do, so it's kind of tough.
There is I believe I might be wrong, but I believe it's an Indian saying that the first 5 years of your child's life you have to treat them as a prince or princess. The next 10 years as a slave, and
Oh,
for the rest of their lives as a friend.
oh, okay.
When you are trying to become a friend too early, you can blur the line very quickly, and then you are done as a parent.
I want all the Indian listeners to tell me how they treated their kids as slaves. I want to know about that.
Well, but
Like,
think about it. Think about it. The first 5 years, they are adorable. They are
yeah.
the best. I mean, I'm looking at my granddaughter. She's 6. She has me around her little finger. Her one phone call, Nana, this is what I need. Oh, that's it. There's no question why. She needs it. She
Yeah,
has it. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
But from 6 to 16, think about it.
yeah.
The changes that they go, the formative years, up to from 5 to 7, that they're formative years. Then they're becoming teenagers. Right now, it's not 13, 15, it's starting from 11,
Mhm.
you know, and the questions they have. And trust me, even my son with certain things to the stories that he was bringing from school, I was like, I know that did not happen, but this boy is telling his whole class that it happened, and I'm not gonna get into details. There
No.
was there's no possibility that definitely not, but the kids believe it
Yeah,
because he was
yeah.
serious about it. He was
Well,
trying to,
that's what happens. Yeah, they
but
always do.
that's what makes them think, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. That's it. So talking and talking and talking and more talking, and the conversations where you have to spend hours sometimes to make them realize that they have to do certain way, not because you told them, but
That's
continually
mhm.
talking to make them think, to make the decision that you want them to make, but without you telling them to do it.
So
that,
you definitely
that was the
want them
trick.
to make. Yeah, that's a trick. Okay. Yeah, I think about that a lot. That you do want them to be their own person, but you do want to set it up in such a way that they want to do the right thing. Like they understand what it is, and not necessarily because of damnation or hellfire or because of they'll go to jail or whatever, but simply because they feel like that's the right thing to do, and doing the right thing for society actually moves it forward, and now they have contributed to that. So that's part of the whole civic thing. I guess I try always to bring to my children. It's a weird thing where you kind of become this. Um, you try to become this model person that they can see, and I think that sometimes is weird for kids too. They're like, you used to do this when you were a kid, but now you want us to do this, and I'm like, yeah, I learned. I was wrong or whatever, but the truth is, uh, and some people used to call me goody two shoes anyway, so I was wasn't doing a bunch of bad stuff, and now I don't want you to do bad stuff, so it is what it is. We'll see.
One of the things, see, like my son went to Catholic high school,
Mhm.
but Catholic high school had special meetings for parents, and from the very beginning, they told us um, we have certain do's and don'ts. There's a certain discipline, and you
Right.
cannot expect from your children to behave certain way if they see different behavior at home.
Exactly.
So yes, like you said it before, growing with them, learning new things with them. That's
Yeah.
part of becoming a parent, not
It changes you. Mhm.
not holding on to your old ways or ways of your parents. You always, every generation is different, and you have to give in and you have to change with times.
Right.
I could not raise my son the way I was raised. I know my mother didn't raise me the way she was raised.
Right.
So there is, and you know what? Sometimes I'm looking at my son and my daughter, and now I'm like, damn, they are really good parents. Where did they get that from?
There's so much more information now. You know what I mean? There's so many things that you can learn and find out about. But also, I don't know. I feel as though here's one of the things that bothers me as a dad who was born in 1973. Okay. So I was born in 1973. My mom was born in 1943. So her life was a different kind of life than my life. And the same way my kid's life is going to be a very different life. And so the thing that I worry about all the time is I am providing a better platform for them to jump off from, but am I making them too soft to deal with the world? Because I take pride in being able to muscle through certain things and say, everything is figure outable. And what one man can do, this is a line from that movie. What one man can do, another can do, and that sort of thing. So I always feel like, hey, am I doing that for them, or are they getting everything served to them on a platter, and they're going to be like not
I'm
able
going with
to do
I'm going with where the doors are closed, the window is open.
it. It's a bunch of different ones, right? But
Yeah, but
yeah,
it comes to the same thing. But it comes to the same thing. But you know what? Just because I'm an older parent than you are, I can tell you from my experience because I was worried about the
you're
same
not
thing.
that much older. Stop it.
Not older than you, not much
Yeah.
older than you, although I am older than you, young man. So you listen to older person here.
I was trying to fix that up for you. Go ahead.
I'm proud of my age. Don't even try it. I'm proud of
All
my
right.
age.
Okay. All right.
Um, but what I'm trying to say that I was worried about the same things. Am I doing the right thing? Because there is no manual, and every child is different. So our kids are not from cookie cutter form. You know that they will be. This is what you do. You do
Mhm.
your best. You teach them life. You have to teach them life first of all. You
Right.
have to send them to school to provide them with good education
Right.
if you can, or at least a good profession. Not everyone. College is not for everybody,
No.
and and I met a lot of wonderful successful people that they did to college, they quit college or they didn't even go to college, and they are living beautiful lives and they have beautiful families. So but
Absolutely.
provide told them, give them living skills, teach them how they have to live. And when they older, they figure out themselves that as parents, the parents, they don't know everything.
No,
that
they
they're just doing their best, that sometimes we just, pretend that we know. And later when they are adults, they will actually appreciate that.
yeah,
They
yeah.
will appreciate because they will know, they will realize what it takes to be a parent, and they will appreciate all the efforts that was put into
I
their life.
certainly hope so, because it's not easy. It has not been easy. It is not going to be easy. I don't think it's ever going to get easier in any way, shape, or form. So it
It's
is
not
what
an
it is.
easy job. And
No.
with every stage, there are different challenges.
Hmm.
Um, from the get-go, okay, how am I going to raise my child? What kind of methods am I going to use? Am I going to put them on timeout, or I'm going to talk to them? And sometimes you can try to talk to them, and I try to talk to my 2-year-old, and I end up with the black eye from his blogs because he wanted to play. I said no, and he got upset and give me,
Oh no, no,
and
no,
he
no.
threw the
See,
block at me.
that's another thing. Like that. There's not something that I would do as a kid. I would never have done that,
When you were
and
two,
I don't think so. I don't
well, you
think so.
don't think so. You
I
don't
was,
know.
I,
You
I was,
don't remember.
I was a really good kid. What? Yeah. It's
Listen,
possible. It's
my
possible.
kid,
It's a terrible twos, right? It's possible. But I was
my
told I
kid
was.
was the best kid. He was every mother's dream.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. So you didn't have that. You did not get black eyes with the
No,
blocks in
I
your
got
house.
I got the black eye
Oh,
from
you
the
did.
block at when he
I'm
was
just
2 years
saying,
old.
what would my mother have done to me versus what I would do to my kid if that actually happened? I would probably just walk away, but I'm sure my mother would have gotten a broom.
No, I was.
No, I'm just saying.
You
It's just,
can. It's like, okay, this doesn't work. I was like, you know what? I'm taking your blocks away. That's it.
yeah, yeah. For me, it's amazing. Right now, the easiest thing to do is just take away all their screens. No screens. It's over.
Yeah, yeah,
The kid before, the 20-something-year-old, go to your room and be there by yourself. Ooh, she hated that. So it's an interesting thing where
yeah.
you
Everything
change.
changes.
Yeah, yeah. If she had had a phone and a
Yeah,
iPad and all of that, forget it. Then she'd
yeah,
be happy to go to her room.
yeah.
These kids are COVID kids, and they have made all their friends online or taken all their friends from school online. And so even the ones who no longer are here, who are from like different areas, who live far, far away, are now their friends right here in this box.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very different
It's
world where
different
you're
world.
parenting.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
yes.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
actually fantastic. All right, so I feel like we've covered a lot in this. Do you want to do more about parenting stuff, or do you want to? What you think we've got this wrapped
There is
up?
a lot because there are different stages. Like I was saying before, first we are worried what kind of parents we're gonna be, and then we are parents, and then the different challenges with different ages. Schools, picking schools, worried about who they're hanging out with, how to handle that,
Yeah,
and then when they start dating, again, how as parents are we going to allow ourselves to let go of our offsprings or
yeah.
holding on to them for the
It's
dear life and say, oh, you're not good for them, you're not good for them, you're not good for them. And
a great summary of what we were talking about. I do like this.
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
enjoying this very much.
and
Go ahead.
there is more. How long do you think your child should live with you?
Oh, you know what? So we're
That's
gonna go to
maybe
part
part
two of
two.
this. That's a whole other conversation. Which, by the way, has also changed from what used to be expected from 1973 to what's now being expected, or 1943, 1973, or 2003. It's a very different.
Different
So,
world.
yeah, so let's wrap up. Thank you guys for watching this very first part of Love, Death, and Taxes, uh, parenting. What do we call this? parenting, the struggle, parenting, the parent trap. We'll get sued by Disney for that one. But yeah, ladies and gents, we're probably gonna come right back with our parenting conversation. You have a great evening. If this is the first time that you're actually watching us, I want you to know that we have a mailbag at lovedeathandtaxes.com, and that's where you should send any information if you weren't hoping to find out more about what it is that we're doing, or you want to suggest something. Go ahead and send it right there, and I look forward to that. All right, hopefully see you, and see you on the other side when we do part 2 of this. Hold on a second, ladies and G's. I'm looking forward to that.